Welcome back to another video on the JJ Think Tank. In this one I want to talk about Jay Dyer, Jay Dyer's book Esoteric Hollywood. So this video will be a mixture of being a book review, but also trying to delve deeper into the world of cinema from the philosophical perspective, yes, using Gilles Deleuze and the two books that I read many years ago, Gilles Deleuze Cinema 1 and 2, so the movement image and the time image. And Deleuze is a fascinating philosopher. I mean, I think he's definitely up there as being one of my favourites. Definitely top three philosophers that I think I have read so far in my life. I'm a big fan of Gilles Deleuze. I think he's very relevant to our postmodern era, and he helps us to understand art, to understand literature, to understand our current reality, to understand philosophy itself, what it means to be a philosopher. And he offers so many interesting thoughts and ideas, definitely. So, highly recommend Gilles Deleuze to everyone. I already made a video about Gilles Deleuze. It's getting some traction now, actually. It's got over 100 views and a few likes. I think 6 or 7 likes. So, it obviously resonated with some people out there. But yes, I'll try to combine the thought of Gilles Deleuze and Jay Dyer. And Jay Dyer as well is a fascinating thinker. He's an Orthodox Christian, and I think he began his career by analysing Hollywood. Yes, analysing the deeper side of Hollywood, the more satanic side of Hollywood, kind of the deeper meanings that we can find in these films, the symbology of these films. And yes, in general, yes, kind of what these films are trying to show us, yes, and this is why I began my article with this quote by Jay Dyer, and he said, "I invite the reader to consider the existential experience of the various films chosen, and how, though it may seem counterintuitive, fictional films can present more reality than mainstream media." That's definitely true. That is definitely true. The mainstream media spout a lot of lies. They spread a lot of lies. They distort reality. They don't tell the truth, which is why I have not watched mainstream media for a while. Definitely over 10 years now, to be honest. I mean, maybe it's up to 15 years, maybe 15 years, 10, 15 years, to be honest. I haven't watched really TV in general for 10 to 15 years now, and I think this is an important process. Everyone should detach themselves from mainstream TV. I mean, a lot of people have been doing this for a while as well. I think 2016 was the year, I think, when people started to wake up with Donald Trump and his rise to power, and he was the first kind of crack in the matrix, yes, Donald Trump, despite his flaws, yes. And then I included another quote, this one by Gilles Deleuze in his book The Time Image. And this is what he said: the cinema must film not the world, but belief in this world, our only link. Restoring our belief in the world. This is the power of cinema. And yes, definitely, I'm a fan of film, yes. Obviously, I prefer to watch films with someone else, with someone by my side. I don't like to watch films on my own, because then I start to feel a bit lonely, a bit depressed. If I'm alone, I prefer to read a book, yes, because I feel I'm not wasting my time. I like to share the experience of watching a film, yes, with another person or with other people, yes. I'm not a fan of series because they consume too much of your time. If you want to watch a whole series, you have to spend so much time. You have to commit so much time, because you can't just watch one episode and then understand the whole meaning behind the series. Yes, that's why I only watch films really, and yeah, it's definitely interesting to watch films and then to step back and to start to think about what the meaning of these films are. Like, what are they trying to tell us? And we'll go into some films here as I dive deep into my article. I like to watch a variety of films. I like to watch films from different genres: horror films, science fiction films, tragedy films, comedy films, dramas, thrillers, real life films, films based on reality and based on history and real life events. Yeah, so many films. So many genres are great to watch. And there's one thing I've noticed when it comes to films, yes, and it's how many of these films they kind of predict the future. They kind of tell us what is going to happen if we're not careful, perhaps. Some of these films, like they taunt us. They kind of make fun of us. We could say, yes. And this is why I titled my article "Predictive Programming," and then the other side of Hollywood. So, predictive programming. This is a concept that I discovered through Jay Dyer, and this is how I understand the concept. What he said was, all these films that we watch, they tell us the truth about the real world, but in a subtle sense. They're not blatant about it. They're not blatant. It's kind of in a subtle. They reveal the truth in a subtle way, because if it was too obvious, if they displayed the truth in too obvious a manner, then perhaps the films wouldn't be interesting. Yes. And I guess what one film that comes to mind is Eyes Wide Shut. This is definitely a film that is like this. Yes. And it's the cover of this book here by Jay Dyer. Yes. Eyes Wide Shut. This is a famous scene in the film where they have a satanic ceremony full of Satanism, full of demons and minions. Man. But I think predictive programming, we can also extend this to the political space, yes? So for example, when I went to the cinema some time ago, I wrote this article 2 years ago. So around this time, I went to the cinema, and then there were two trailers that caught my attention. Yes, one of them was about an upcoming civil war in America, and another concerning the life of migrants who undertake a perilous journey to reach Europe. So these films I think that they're subtly trying to make us accept the future. Yes. So the one film, this film is trying to accept the fact that there will be a civil war in America. They're already kind of preparing us for this event, yes. And the other film, they want us to accept the idea that there will be mass migration to Europe, yes, because there is a lot of migration taking place into Europe from Africa, from the Middle East, etc. Yes. And the two films were, the title of these two films were Civil War and Io Capitano. So I haven't watched Civil War. I haven't watched this film, but I watched Io Capitano, and it was actually a great film. I actually enjoyed the film. It it was a really honest, I thought, quite an honest portrayal of what these migrants go through, yes, in order to reach Europe. And I thought it was a good expression of humanism, yes. I understand why many of these migrants want to reach Europe. I understand this, because Europe for them, it seems like a paradise. But then at the same time, I don't think Europe can accept too many of these migrants, because then there's a threat that our civilization could collapse. Yes, the European civilization could collapse if we take in too many of these migrants. And this film as well, it goes into the idea that perhaps Europe is not a good place for these migrants, because it's hard for Africans to adapt to Western civilization. Yes, it's not for everybody. Yes, and I actually met a lot of Sudanese migrants recently when I was teaching them English. And they told me how hard it is for them to adapt to Western civilization, because the place where they are from is, Sudan or other countries, Chad or other countries. I don't remember which ones exactly, but definitely Sudan. No, their way of life is completely different. They're more in tune with nature. They're more in touch with nature. They live a more quote unquote primitive lifestyle. Yes, they're tied to the land, to agriculture, etc. Yes, whereas once they come here to the West, they end up in these little apartments, these cubicles, and it can be hard for them, yes, to adapt. So, perhaps they regret their journey. Yes, maybe they regret making this move. Yes. So, there's something else I wanted to say, but I've forgotten now. Maybe if it comes back to my mind, I'll return to it. Yes. But yes, these two films they're an example of predictive programming in the political space. I mean, hopefully we can avoid civil war in America, and hopefully we can come to an agreement or some form of arrangement, with Middle Eastern countries and with African countries in order to control the flow of migration. Yes. I mean, I obviously understand why these migrants want to come, because, for example, Sudan, yes, it's embroiled in a civil war. There's a terrible civil war going on there, and I understand why people want to escape. They want to live a better life, yes. So it's a difficult issue, It's a difficult issue. So yes, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but definitely the establishment, our political establishment, they use these films to depict future events that are, about to occur, so that the populace subconsciously, is accustomed to this future event. Yes, so that when it actually takes place in reality, they're kind of already used. They're already used to what they see. If you understand the point I'm trying to make, because these films work on our subconscious. And therefore, if it does take place in reality, if these processes are allowed to occur, then the citizens of the native citizens of a given country, they're less likely to rebel or to refuse to cooperate. Yes, and obviously in many films there's always a political bias. Yes, not all films, obviously, not all films are political. But many films are, yes. Many films are political. So, yeah, it's definitely predictive programming is relevant to these films as well. But anyway, now let's go a bit deeper and let's come back to Jay Dyer, yes. And Jay Dyer, he focuses more on symbology, on symbols, like the symbols in film. He uncovers a layer of meaning to many different films, yes. And his analysis is really fascinating, I think he's got 3 of these books now. He's got Esoteric Hollywood #1, so this is the first book. And he's got 2 more, Esoteric Hollywood Part 2 and Esoteric Hollywood Part 3, yes? And he analyzes these films from the angle of symbolism, philosophy, comparative religion and geopolitics. So he doesn't really talk about gossip or the relationships that exist in these films. He talks more about the esoteric, yes, the metaphysical aspect. And this is a key section from the introduction that I remember, and I included this in my article because I thought it was really relevant. Yes, it provides kind of an overarching thesis and idea as to what Jay Dyer is trying to share with us. Yes, and this is what he wrote. My thesis is that, as the above quote from the great Orson Welles explicates, and this is the quote by Orson Welles: the camera is much more than a recording apparatus. It is a medium via which messages reach us from another world that is not ours, and that brings us to the heart of a great secret. Here, magic begins. So definitely cinema is a form of magic, let's be honest, because via films we can enter another world. We enter another world via the world of cinema. Via film, yes. But yes, this is what Jay Dyer then had to say. He wrote that film and our mass attendance at theatres, it's fundamentally religious in character. It is a ritual process at work, and I believe many of the Hollywood insiders, producers and directors have this same mindset. Beyond the philosophical and esoteric dimensions of film, I highlight the emergence of the formation of the mass consciousness through mass media from its ritual and cultic connections, paying close attention to the popular context of the symbology. Modern man is far from being religious, even in our science-driven era. He has, as Michel Foucault said, simply changed his old priests and gods for new ones. And in Esoteric Hollywood, I will decipher how this has been done. So definitely, I mean, in general, in the West, over the past 30, 40, 50 years, I don't know how far back we want to go, but Christianity has been on the decline, yes? And when you remove the God of Christianity and Jesus, all these crazy ideas start popping up, like Satanism, all these forms of Satanism, etc., yes? That need to be rejected at all costs, because these are false religions and false worldviews. Ultimately, Satan deceives, yes? Satan is a deceiver. And we must trust Jesus and God and not Satan. So definitely Jay Dyer is right here. Going to the cinema, going to the theatre, it's a new kind of religious experience, yes? So I especially like Jay's analysis of the Kubrick film The Shining. The Shining is definitely one of my favourite films that I've ever watched, because it uncovers kind of the two faces of evil. There's the obvious face of evil, which is kind of psychopathic. Here we can think of serial killers, yes? But then the other side of evil, the other face of evil, which is more subtle. The secret controllers of this world, yes? The people who manipulate and try to control events. These are also evil people. And this is shown in the bathroom scene at the end of the film, yes? And Jack Nicholson, I believe, he talks to this gentleman in a suit, and this gentleman is he's evil in a cold way. Yes, he doesn't have empathy. So Kubrick uses The Shining to discuss the psyche of Jack. Yes, Jack Nicholson, the character that Jack Nicholson plays. Yes, and the symbols found in the film. So I think Jay Dyer talks about carpet, the carpet. In this hotel, we have these carpets, yes, that are that repeats. There's the same design of the carpet everywhere, yes. And he talks about this. Let me find this. The Shining 50. So there's so many here, references. The maze-like compartments of the psyche. Oh, exactly. So here we've got. So the carpet shows how our psyche is like a maze. This is definitely true. Our psyche is like a maze, yes. And in general, in the film, we can spot these symbols, yes? All these symbols in the film. And using Jay Dyer and his thoughts, we can look at films in a new light. We can spot this. So definitely, many of these films, I think, they are used in order to elicit negative emotions and fear. These films, they want us to be fearful all the time. They want us to operate via fear and via negative emotions instead of via positive emotions such as love and courage and honor, etc. Yes. So obviously, there's a lot of horror films out there. A lot of horror films now. A lot of them are crap. There's no artistic value to them, really. I mean, some horror films are okay because they're deeper in meaning. There's something deeper there. So, for example, recently I watched with my sister. I watched the Polanski film. What's the name of the film? I forgot the name of the film. Rosemary's Baby. This is the one. This was a weird film. This film freaked me out at the end as well. So it's a psychological horror film. I thought it was a great film because this young woman, she was right all along. Yes, she was kind of paranoid. Yes, she was paranoid, and ultimately she was correct in her paranoia. Yes, people around her were conspiring to cause her downfall. Yes, and it's definitely a great film. So that's another example, yes. And what Jay Dyer also mentions in his book is how many films they are an unconscious carrier of propaganda. There's always an element of propaganda to many of these films. These films, they want us to change our worldview. These films try to shape our worldview, definitely. And this was even stated by Edward Bernays, yes. So Edward Bernays was, I believe, the grandson of Sigmund Freud, or something like this. He had a genetic relation to Sigmund Freud, yes. But now, yes, obviously this book by Jay Dyer, it covers so many films, yes. Like many famous films such as Blade Runner, E.T., The Shining, obviously, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick, Moonraker by James Bond, yes, Blade Runner, I already said this, Prometheus, so many, yes, Vertigo, Mulholland Drive, loads, yes. So they're a fascinating book, really, when it comes to film. Hopefully one day I will read the other two by Jay Dyer. But yes, before I finish, I want to go back to Deleuze, yes, because I didn't really talk about Deleuze in this video much. And Gilles Deleuze, he analyzes films in a different way, via the time image and the movement image. And his thought was definitely more abstract. I think I'll need to read these books again to provide you with a more accurate description of what he was trying to say. Yes. But this is what I noticed anyway. This is this was what was relevant to me and my experience watching films. So Deleuze's analysis is definitely more technical. Obviously, many of the films he discussed, I didn't watch them, so I couldn't really understand what he was talking about. But he definitely made me notice that nowadays most of the films promoted, they have a lot of action, a lot of special effects, but there's a lack of a meaningful message for the viewer. There's nothing to take home really, and there's no point really watching these films. It's just junk. It's slop content. Doesn't really help you in any way. Yes. And by referring to Deleuze and his thoughts, we can see the different styles of filming that different directors use. So when we think of action films, we can compare them to the slow methodical style of, for example, Tarkovsky. Yes, so Andrei Tarkovsky, the Russian director, his films are quite slow. They are metaphysical. They try to go, I guess, they try to uncover the crux of the issue of our life. Yes. And I guess the Tarkovsky films, they touch on deep subjects such as the meaning of life, death, God, faith, etc. Yes. So yes, I mean, I don't have anything else to say at this moment in time, because I don't want to waste your time. This is all I wanted to share with you for this one. And definitely, film is a powerful medium. Cinema, film, these forms of art definitely shape our worldview to a high degree. We need to be aware of it, I think, because it impacts our unconscious, definitely. But yes, that's the end of the video. Once again, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in to the JJ Think Tank and listening to what I have to say. I hope you found this video interesting. I hope you took something away from what you heard. I mean, to begin with, I would read this book by Jay Dyer. It's easier to digest. Fascinating book. Must read, in my opinion, when it comes to film and cinema. And yes, once again, thank you for listening. If you're not a subscriber, it would be great if you could subscribe. And for my existing viewers, it would be great if you could like and subscribe. Not subscribe, but like the video. It will help me grow the channel and spread more vital information. I think will help a lot of people out there. But anyway, thank you for listening, and I wish you all the best. Take care.